Pixel Sonic Stories.
The kingdom of Astoria lay in ruins, its once glorious castle now a shadow of its former self. Prince Adrian stood at the highest tower, his eyes scanning the desolate landscape. The weight of the crown pressed heavily upon his brow, a constant reminder of the immense responsibility that now rested solely on his young shoulders. As he gazed out at the war-torn land, Adrian's heart ached with a profound sadness that seemed to seep into his very bones. The passing of his father, the wise King Aldred, had left a void not just in Adrian's life, but in the entire kingdom. The people of Astoria, once proud and prosperous, now shuffled through the streets with downcast eyes and slumped shoulders. Adrian could feel their pain, their desperation, as if it were a tangible force pressing against his chest. He wanted nothing more than to lift their spirits, to breathe life back into his beloved homeland, but he felt utterly powerless. Days turned into weeks, and Adrian found himself wandering the empty halls of the castle, his footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. He avoided the throne room, unable to face the symbol of a power he felt unworthy to wield. Instead, he sought solace in the musty confines of the royal library, surrounding himself with the wisdom of ages past. It was there, amidst the towering shelves of ancient tomes, that fate intervened. Adrian's fingers brushed against a scroll, yellowed with age and nearly crumbling at his touch. As he carefully unrolled it, his eyes widened in disbelief. Before him lay a map, its faded lines leading to a legend that set his heart racing: the Crown of Light. Stories of this mythical artifact had been passed down through generations, whispered around firesides, and woven into lullabies. It was said to grant unparalleled wisdom and strength to its wearer, the very qualities Adrian so desperately needed. In that moment, a spark of hope ignited within him, fragile but fierce. With trembling hands, Adrian packed a small satchel and slipped out of the castle under the cover of darkness. The journey ahead was treacherous, filled with perils he could scarcely imagine. But as he took his first steps beyond the city walls, Adrian felt a surge of determination. This was his chance to prove himself, to become the leader his people deserved. The path to the Crown of Light was fraught with danger. Adrian battled through raging storms that threatened to sweep him off sheer cliff faces. He navigated labyrinthine caves where shadows seemed to come alive, reaching out with ghostly fingers. Each obstacle tested not just his physical strength, but his resolve. There were moments when Adrian's faith wavered, when the enormity of his quest threatened to crush his spirit. On a particularly dark night, huddled in the hollow of an ancient tree, Adrian found himself haunted by memories of his father. King Aldred's voice echoed in his mind, filled with the unwavering belief that Adrian was destined for greatness. But as the wind howled and rain lashed against his makeshift shelter, Adrian felt anything but great. Just when all seemed lost, when Adrian's last reserves of hope were nearly depleted, he stumbled upon a small village nestled in a hidden valley. The people there, despite their meager resources, welcomed him with open arms. Their kindness, their resilience in the face of hardship, struck Adrian to his core. He saw in their eyes the same strength he had always admired in his father, and it rekindled something within him. Inspired by the villagers' indomitable spirit, Adrian pressed on with renewed vigor. He scaled treacherous mountains, forded raging rivers, and finally reached the sacred resting place of the Crown of Light. But as he stood before the legendary artifact, gleaming on its stone pedestal, Adrian hesitated. He realized that the true power he sought had been within him all along, nurtured by every challenge he had overcome and every person who had shown him kindness along the way. With this profound understanding, Adrian returned to Astoria, not as a conquering hero, but as a humble servant of his people. He walked among them, listening to their stories, sharing in their sorrows and their joys. And slowly, like the first rays of dawn breaking through a long night, hope began to spread through the kingdom. Together, Adrian and his people rebuilt Astoria. They planted gardens in the ruins of battlefields, turned abandoned fortresses into schools and hospitals. The castle, once a symbol of isolation, became a beacon of community as its doors were thrown open to all. Adrian learned that true leadership wasn't about wearing a crown or wielding power, but about inspiring others to find the strength within themselves. As the years passed, Astoria flourished once more. The kingdom became known not for its military might or vast riches, but for the unbreakable spirit of its people. And at the heart of it all stood King Adrian, no longer the doubt-filled prince, but a wise and compassionate ruler who had found his own crown of light in the love and trust of his people. The legend of Adrian's quest lived on, not as a tale of magical artifacts, but as a reminder that the greatest power lies within the human heart. And in the end, that was the most precious legacy he could have hoped to leave behind. The moral of the story is, true strength and leadership do not come from titles or power, but from courage, kindness, and the ability to inspire hope in others. The greatest treasure lies within the human heart.